Kingdom Rush is a tower defense game known for its use of melee towers and reinforcements to block the path of oncoming enemies, for your other towers to blow them to bits. But what if I were to ignore this core gameplay feature?
You're still not right.
Just say the word.
To nature.
That's right, today I'm going to be beating the main story of Kingdom Rush 5 Alliance without the use of barracks and reinforcements. And just so we're on the right page, let me break down the rules. I am not allowed to use any towers that spawn in troops that defend the path. This includes the towers you would expect. This also includes the Necromancer due to him passively spawning in skeletons that block the path, as well as any upgrade that would cause a unit to appear on the track. I am under no circumstances allowed to place down reinforcements. However, I am allowed to use heroes, mainly because it's impossible to unequip them, but I also believe they add more strategic depth to this challenge, with its ability timing and micromanagement. But as punishment for using heroes, I will be playing on veteran mode. Without further ado, let's start with the first stage. Now the first stage acts sort of like a tutorial, showing you the basics of the game. Build a tower here, call the wave here. Did you know you get gold by killing enemies? Don't let them pass beyond this point. Build a barrack. Ah shit. So it turns out I'm forced to place down a barrack to progress the game. But don't worry, I have a way around this problem. All I have to do is beat the stage, go back to the menu, actually turn on veteran mode, go back to the first stage, and beat it again without using barracks. And now we can go to the second stage. Now in the second stage, I get the second hero, doubling my defenses. So in theory, this stage should be a piece of cake.
Your little pussy belongs to me.
I'm joking! Stop! 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 Stop the break! Stop! Stop!
This is probably a good moment to tell you guys that most of these stages won't be beaten with 3 stars. Cutthroat rats have the unique ability of turning invisible after hitting an enemy, meaning they go right through my heroes, making them a pain to micromanage. Back in the menu, we get our rewards for beating the stage, including 3 upgrade points, which is what you use to upgrade your towers and heroes. With the upgrade points, we get Courageous Stand and Friends of the Crown. Now on to the third stage, where I had my first defeat, as I struggled to manage the hordes on both sides, slowly leaking 1 or 2 enemies until I died. But a slight shift in my tower placements, placing more wizard towers on the right, allowed me to keep my heroes on the left for longer, stalling enough for my tri-cannon to deal heavy damage to the hordes going left, making them easy picking for the rest of the towers, eventually giving me the win. Our rewards are more upgrade points that we use to get shared reserves and no thigh enemy, as well as the new hero, Nairu, doesn't matter. All you need to know is that he is goat material. Good ranged magic damage? Check. Good supportive abilities? Check. And an ultimate that slows and deals true damage? Check. And did I mention?
Listen to nature.
He's fast, a great addition to the team. Now on to stage 4, where you now gain access to the last tower levels, unlocking their full potential. Now I'll be honest, stage 4 was quite easy as I beat it without taking any damage on the first try. I believe this is thanks to our addition, Nairu being able to zoom around the map, dealing with anything whenever I needed to. And also, my beloved. This is the best thing in the game. So without issue, we beat the 4th stage, unlocking the Ballista Outpost. A great tower that is most definitely going on the team, especially with their scrap bomb ability, with it dealing damage and slowing down enemies as they pass. As without anything to properly block the path, slowing down the enemies is of utmost importance. With the upgrade points, I get War Rations, a useless perk for this challenge, but it's needed to progress the skill tree, and Scoping Mechanism. In stage 5, we get to use our Ballista, and it brings something new to the table that we're going to have to consider for some of the stages to come.
Listen to nature.
Mid-stage track changes. This one isn't too bad, as I just focused on keeping my heroes over here a bit more. And after a little while longer, stage 5 is in the bag, with only 1 life lost. Our rewards for beating the stage are upgrade points that we spend on arcane pillars, a new hero in Taurus, and a new tower being Arborean Emissary. It's kinda mid. However, Taurus is great due to his men-at-work ability, passively spawning in 2 builders to fight by his side, giving us a small but much needed boost in our defense.
I'm tough as nails.
Onward to stage 6, the last stage in part 1, as well as the first boss stage, so it's time to lock in. But first, Minecraft. Taurus is stupidly slow, so I'm mostly keeping him on the right side where he can deal with the hordes there, while Nairu goes back and forth, helping wherever he can. An important thing to keep in mind about this stage is to never let this pig open the gate, as if he does, an extra horde of enemies will flood out right next to the exit, making the stage even harder. On the 10th wave, the middle opens up with enemies coming out in hordes, so I quickly leveled up my tri-cannons and they dealt with it perfectly. And on the 15th wave, after dealing with all of the enemies, we face off against Gorgrind. We instantly start hitting him with all of our abilities, making him switch lane, but without any barracks, he quickly reaches the halfway point. But right where all of these towers can hit him, my ballista uses its scrap bomb ability, slowing him down greatly, allowing all of them to dish out heaps of damage. Eventually, he switches lanes again, dodging my wrecking ball, but another scrap bomb ability seals the case, as we take down Gorgrind with all 20 lives left. But something tells me things are about to get a lot harder. For beating the 6th stage, we receive 6 upgrade points that we spend on Call to Action, another useless perk for this challenge, but it's needed to get improved formulas, a great perk, and we get Loned Wolves, and 2 mostly useless towers for this challenge. Now in the 7th stage, we get introduced to a more occultist-like scenery, with occultist enemies that are already giving me a hard time. Starting with the Cult Acolyte that spawns a tentacle on death that stays in place and keeps fighting. It doesn't sound too bad until you realize that it keeps your heroes distracted, forcing you to move your heroes away so that they are not just fighting something pointless. Next up is Corrupted Stalker. Flying enemies are already bad, but this one is especially bad, as when it receives its first hit, it teleports forward, dodging your defenses, forcing you to focus on them. I found that if you keep Nairu over here, he will pop the teleport on all of them, allowing my towers to deal with them. And lastly is Twisted Sister. On their own, they don't pose much of a threat, but if left undealt with for a bit, they summon nightmares, and let me tell you, they are a nightmare, as they cannot be targeted unless it is blocked by a melee unit, forcing me to use my heroes to stop them. And as Taurus is too slow to catch up with them, I'm forced to use Nairu. But after a rough fight, we make it out with only 6 lives left. Our rewards are 3 upgrade points that we spend on Unlimited Vigor and Helping Hand, a new hero in Anya, and the Necromancer Tower. That's banned. Anya is fine, however we need a tanky melee hero, so Taurus it is. Onward to stage 8, where you can save elves that help you for the rest of the stage. I tried, but without any barracks to protect, while I used my heroes, I leaked way too much in the start. So I restarted and ignored the elves. On round 3, we are introduced to the Glare Brood, fast little spiders that arrive in hordes. Without any barracks, they become another annoying enemy to deal with, because they flood our heroes and zip right past our defenses. A little later on, Cold Priestess start appearing. Another enemy you need to keep your eye on, as when they are near death, they try transforming, and if they are successful, they turn into Cult Abominations, a unit with way more bulk. Eventually, we beat the stage with 6 lives lost. Back in the menu, we get 3 upgrade points that we simply spend on Seal of Punishment. We get the Elven Stargazer, a magic tower good for dealing with hordes, and we get Crimson, and he is absolutely going on the team, as he is arguably the most tanky hero in the game. With both Inner Beast and Renew Flesh, he becomes nearly unkillable. Add in some damage with Heartseeker and Deadly Spikes, and an ultimate that slows and deals true damage, and you have got one hell of a hero. And on top of all that creamy goodness, he is fast, allowing me to micromanage him properly. And with all that said, we easily beat Stage 9, micromanaging our heroes to the max, only losing 2 lives out of the hundreds of enemies that appeared. Our reward is Broden, a good hero but unfortunately flying and unable to block, which would reduce our overall defense. The Dwarven Flamespitter, and 3 upgrade points that, stay with me, we remove Unlimited Vigor, get Battle Fervor, remove Lone Wolf, and get back Unlimited Vigor. Stage 10 is no joke, as it is the only stage in the main story that has 3 exits. On top of that, it has this temple artifact that messes with you every round. Its 3 options are heal, teleport, sacrifice, and they appear in this order. Heal and teleport are self-explanatory. One heals and one teleports enemies further. Sacrifice activates 1 crystal golem out of these 3 piles, a mini-boss with high health and armor. However, it does leave a strategic point for us to build on. On round 9, we're introduced to the Tamed Stalker. Similar to the Corrupted Stalkers, they fly, but drop the teleport ability for way more bulk. But despite the challenges this stage brought us, we finish it off with 13 lives left. Back in the menu, we get 3 upgrade points that we spend on getting Lone Wolf back and Lethal Focus, as well as the Dune Sentinels, which I consider an upgrade to the Archer Tower. In the 11th stage, we face off against Cirrus Midrius. She periodically summons illusions of herself on the track that disables nearby towers or shields nearby enemies from any damage, so it's best to deal with her illusions as quickly as possible. We deal with the hordes of acolytes, glare broods, corrupted stalkers, abominations, and more for 15 rounds. And after clearing the last wave, with only 11 lives left, Midrius reveals her final trick, releasing a corrupted King Dennis onto the track. Luckily, Vesnan appears and gives us a helping hand by giving us the ability to magically shackle Dennis up for a bit or disrupt Midrius from creating illusions. And summon Infernals on the track, but we're not allowed to do that. But it does not matter, as shackling Dennis is the most important one. And after a close fight, we rescue King Dennis, but Midrius gets away. After beating that stage, we get 8 upgrade points that we use to get Wise Investment, Golden Time, Favorite Customer, and Nimble Physique. We get Therian, meh, and Rocket Gunners. We are not allowed to use them. Stage 12 brings another scenery, an alien-like scenery with loads of tentacles, along with a few new enemies, starting with Mindless Husk. And they aren't too bad, so long as you have a bit of crowd control, as they spawn a Glareling on death, a little dude that barely has any health. Now you might have noticed this thing. This is a Glare of the Overseer. It activates every once in a while, and when it does, it heals every enemy inside its range and triggers their unique abilities, if they have any. Next up are Blinkers, and they are horrible, as once they get close to our heroes, they will stun them for a bit, rendering them useless, forcing us to micromanage them carefully. And if that wasn't enough flying enemies, we encounter Vile Spawners, a flying enemy that spawns in loads of Lesser Eyes that also fly. But fortunately for us, they stand no chance against the Tricannon's superior splash damage, and we beat the stage with 10 lives. Our reward for this stage is a hero we don't need and 3 upgrade points that we spend on Merciless Defense and Shady Company. Stage 13 started off smoothly, but starting at round 5, we encounter Noxious Spitters. They aren't too terrible if it wasn't for their incredible snipe, as they spit acid onto our heroes that if we aren't paying attention to could lead to our heroes getting taken out. So you guessed it, more micromanagement. On wave 10, we are introduced to the Blade Claw Horrors, speedy tanks that while inside Glare cannot be blocked by any means. We beat them on round 10, but the very next wave we get to fight them again, but this time in glare. Now, I don't think this is an intended game mechanic, but for some reason, one of the blade claws decided to go Mach 5. Anyway, we smashed the rest of the waves. Despite the last round dumping hordes of enemies, we were able to keep our heroes below, while the Tri-Cannons dealt with everything on top. I don't care what people say, Tri-Cannon is S tier in my heart. Our rewards are 3 upgrade points that gets us Ominous Curse, and the Eldritch Channeler, another good tower. Stage 14 starts us off with a few Blade Claws and Spitters, and the second round only has a few Glarelings? Wait, where are you going? Ooh, I forgot about them. Well, we should be able to deal with one of them. Oh, god damn it. Okay, we might take some damage here, but we should be able to survive. Alright, let's make sure that does not happen again.
Listen to nature.
Good enough. Later on, evolving scourges appear, and without any barracks, they almost always evolve when there is glare around. On round 10, the game decides that we need more abominations and blade claws, so it crashes another island into this one, where only blade claws and abominations spawn. But despite the challenges, so long as we don't let any flesh behemoths spawn, we win with 13 lives left. Look, I even got an achievement for it. Our rewards are 3 upgrade points that we use to get limit pushing, and another useless hero. There is no replacing my goats. In stage 15, we face off against Midrius once again. Every once in a while, she will peek out of her castle and summon a circle below one of our heroes. If we don't move them in time, she will lock them in place for about 6 or 7 seconds. But if you move them out of the circle, the spell fails and she retreats back into the castle. There are no new enemies in this stage, so instead, we face off against difficult wave after difficult wave. Eventually, after beating wave 15, Midrius gets enough and reveals her true form. Luckily, Dennis appears, and the fight ensues. Dennis and Gerson quickly get knocked out, buying time for our towers to deal massive damage to her, leaving her with about 2/3 health left when she disappears, only for her to reappear on the lower track. Luckily, Gerson came back at the exact same time, so we once again stall her out, letting our towers dish out some more damage. She disappears once again with about 1/3 of her life left, but she makes a fatal mistake, as she reappears right in between my 2 Tri-Cannons, and they absolutely shred her HP, with us only needing a few more hits to take her down. However, instead of dying, she turns into her true final form. We grab the last upgrade, Blessing of Vitality, and head straight for the last stage. In the final stage, we face off against the Overseer, and so I assembled my firing squad. You see, this stage is special, as there is only one wave, and it is infinite. And the only way to win is to deal enough damage to the Overseer. The moment I start the wave, my ballistas start hammering the Overseer, occasionally helping the heroes defend. But then, the Overseer starts teleporting my towers around. It's not all bad, as all the towers he moves away just end up helping my defense, allowing me to just build more ballistas. We get him to about 2/3 HP when we take loads of damage from a bad timing of glare and getting overrun with flying enemies, leaving us with about 11 HP. As we get him down to half HP, he leaves us with 8 HP, and we manage to keep it that way until he reaches the last 1/3 of his health, where he starts shooting laser beams that destroy my towers instead of teleporting them. But just as I thought I had this in the bag, disaster struck, as 4 evolving scourges managed to sneak past and perfectly time themselves with the glare, making them almost unkillable. We managed to get one of them, but the other 3 make it past, leaving us with only 2 HP. But after nearly 10 minutes, my ballistas wore him down enough for King Dennis to finish the job. Thank you for watching my video, and if you stayed all the way to the end, why don't you subscribe and give this video a like and comment. Until next time.